welcome. Thank you. Welcome so much. Thank you.
Well, boy, you are very appreciative today. Thank you.
You got to have stuff to throw in there.
How about hi? Welcome.
Well, we could start again. I could start out with just a real light applause.
Well, now, Suzanne told me one time that we clap too close to our microphones and it bothers her.
It bothers her?
Yeah. Suzanne, I've told him before about this. Because she said, don't clap so close to your microphone because it got like that.
Okay.
So don't clap. Suzanne says not to clap.
Should we start all over?
So, no, I think we can practice clapping next time. The next
Do we
break.
have to practice that?
You do.
That goes
obviously
completely against the whole theme of this whole program.
Can you clap down here?
I can.
Okay.
I can clap overhead.
Just don't clap right there.
Now you just interrupt.
I did. That is just for you, Suzanne.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. How are you today, Daniel?
I'm doing just fine. And you?
I'm perky and bright. I have a spring dress. This is like my third spring dress I've worn. I'm very happy it's spring.
Okay.
So I like warm weather.
What's your favorite color?
Yellow is my favorite color.
Okay.
I love yellow.
Can you wear the dress that you wore that looked like a couch? I'd like to see that.
I brought that up. No. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go back in the archives, you'll remember it's probably 2 years ago.
Matter of fact, we have that. Bring it up.
You have it? I don't even remember what dress it was. I think I got rid of it. But I got it on, and we can see ourselves in a monitor. You see us we're looking at the monitor, and I went, oh my gosh, I look like a couch. It was just bright and floral, and I looked like a couch sitting
Now you look like an aquarium.
I do look kind of like an aquarium, but this is a summer dress. It's one of those that it's kind of long and it doesn't really touch me anywhere. It's very,
it's light.
It's very light and thin. It doesn't touch me anywhere, so it's very comfortable.
Now you want to talk about what I have on today?
No, okay. Not really.
Oh well.
So, but it's the
we
same
get no
old,
respect,
same old.
do we, guys?
It's the same. Ask my U.S. history students. I showed them a picture of fashions in like 1890, then fashions like today, and the men basically look the same. It's a suit. You guys haven't changed much in over 100 years.
We don't want to compete with you.
There is no competition.
You don't want us to wear high heels and long flowing dresses.
Some people do. I've seen it.
Well,
I tell you, I've seen some men in drag that look pretty doggone good.
Don't you feel jealous when they
come
prancing by?
No, not at all. No. I appreciate the work that went into it, quite frankly. Speaking of getting dressed up, I can segue into another thing.
Easily, if you're not drinking.
Yeah, I can if I'm not drinking.
Actually, she can segue in just about anything.
This weekend is the Arkansas Derby, which is a big event in Arkansas down at Oaklawn. It's Arkansas's version of the Kentucky. No, horse racing. This is the Arkansas version of the Kentucky Derby, and I have a new Derby dress with a big Derby hat.
Oh.
So I should have worn it today so I could sit in my big Derby hat.
So are you going to go?
Yes. Now,
what are you doing at an event like? I've never been to the horse races.
You bet.
I know, but how long is it? I mean, you spend an hour there, 2 hours?
Oh, no, all day.
You spend there all day?
Yeah, we'll get there about noonish or whatever, and there's a buffet going all day. And
so there's food to break the monotony.
There's food, and there's beverages.
And you drink and eat.
And you bet. And there's like 20 minutes or so between races, so it's not like boom, boom.
You're watching races all day.
We watch races and we visit. There'll be lots and lots of people there, people on the infield. It's a very social event.
Oh, okay.
And so there'll be lots and lots of people there, so you do a lot of people watching, and we've got friends from Louisiana that come up, and so we'll have a grand old time. But Friday I'll be at a convention. The Arkansas History Convention's Friday in Little Rock, so I'll be down there listening to.
One of your passions.
One of my passions, and this year the theme, of course, is the Civil War, because we just passed the 150th anniversary of the beginning of the Civil War, and so I'm really looking forward to that.
What's your favorite part of history, the era? What's your favorite era?
Wow. In American history, I like the 1920s.
And why? What's the fascination with 1920s?
A lot of changes occurred in the 1920s. The 1920s, it has a reputation for being the roaring 20s, and it did roar in many ways, and in many ways it did not. I find that fascinating. I like the 60s, of course. I like modern history much more
drugs
than I like.
were legal back then, right? Some drugs were illegal.
Yes, many of them were
legal, yes.
And cigarettes were considered good for you, and a doctor told you needed to smoke, and things like that. And of course, I enjoy the Civil War. Most Americans, if they pick a particular era in history, they like the Civil War. It's because I think we find out new things about it all the time. There's a lot of misconceptions on both sides.
And then world history, what's your favorite era?
Modern history. Actually,
is that right?
Nazi Germany. I specialized in Nazi Germany in graduate school. I just kind of fell into that by accident. I'd taken a bunch of classes, all in modern European, and then when you had to pick a senior thesis and you write your big major paper and present it and do all that kind of stuff, that's where most of my research had come from, that particular Germany in the 1930s, and so that's what I wrote my thesis and all that on.
Have you ever had a fascination with wanting to go back, if there was an ability to go back in time? Would you have
No.
wanted to do that?
No, not at all.
Oh, I would.
I would.
I would
no.
love to go back. Yeah.
No. I like air conditioning and microwave ovens, and
I mean,
I like people not dying of things like appendicitis. I mean,
Not
in
necessarily if you'd want to
Arkansas,
live there, but if you just wanted to go back
like
and
to visit
yeah,
for a few
day
hours. Now
or-
that I might for a few hours,
Yeah.
but I would not want to live in a time previous to this one, because mostly for the medical knowledge and things that we have now that make our lives so much more
It'd
pleasant.
be interesting to see exactly. I know they portray it in movies, but it'd be real nice to see it in face to face.
Like the Wild West, I always tell my students it's kind of like the Great Unwashed. You know, it was.
I don't think it was as
People didn't
glamorous.
Whoa, it wasn't glamorous at
No.
all. It was hard work and things like that. People didn't. But like I said, they died of things like abscessed teeth.
Yeah.
And if
You break a leg back there. You had a broke leg. And
that's
it stayed
right.
broke
And if you had
for a long
6
time.
children, 3 of them never saw their second birthday. I wouldn't want to live in a time
Yeah.
like that. Not at all. And you have to admire the people that went through that. So, but in U.S. history today, we talked about the Vietnam War and hippies. They love hippies. They don't know what they are, but they love hippies. And once again, I said a hippie is someone who never bathed, and we're done. So,
No, you can't tell them that. You're not an expert on what a hippie
I'm
is.
not a hippie, but what they think, they think everybody was one. Because they'll say, were you a hippie? I'm not old enough.
Yeah.
And everybody in America
Different levels
was
of
not.
hippiness.
Yeah. Were you a hippie?
Yeah, I was sort
Oh,
of
please.
They called us heads back then. They weren't called hippies. They were
I'm not
called
asking
heads.
why you were called a head.
No,
There
they
are
call
young
them-
people in
they-
the audience. We can't go
If
into
you're
that.
my age, you understand what that means. They called us heads.
See,
So
we
you're
had,
too
we had
young for
like
that.
potheads, that kind of thing. We were in high school. People
Yeah.
who smoked
No,
a lot of
no,
pot,
well-
but what was a head then?
Well, they were
Like
more
headbangers, and
they were
later on?
they were beyond the hippie thing. They didn't do the flower power stuff. They had long hair and they liked rock and roll music, but they didn't engage in all the hippie stuff.
Well, then that's not beyond. That's closer to the
whatever.
norm.
Yeah.
It's not beyond the norm. Yeah, I think the frustration of the quote unquote the hippies is that Americans couldn't figure out why they didn't just work. So you have to figure out at some point in your life that you can't just have fun all the time. You have to work.
Yeah, but it was an idea.
Someone's gotta pay the
It was
bills.
a theory on paper.
It was a theory on paper.
And most of the drugs that they were taking back then, it was quite believable.
I suppose so, but like I said, that was before my time.
Yeah.
I grew up on Scooby Doo and the Jetsons and things like that. I wasn't.
Gosh, you were young.
I was a baby, born in '62, so I was a baby. I grew up in the '70s when things had calmed down a little
Everything
bit.
was cool.
Everything
calm
was
and collected.
groovy. Yeah, it was groovy.
yeah.
I mean, I grew up on Marsha Brady. That's why I cut my teeth on. It was a much simpler time, as they say.
Well, we need to digress back to the program.
Marsha
because-
Brady had a dog. Is that a good segue since we have dogs on the show?
Oh, we do. We do have
Trivia
dogs.
question: what was Marsha's dog's name?
And if you're a frequent watcher of the show, then you'll know about this time last year we featured a dog
On April
that
15th last year.
Actually, when it walked, it shook the earth, and we have that dog back with us
So
again.
if the camera jiggles, you'll know Utah's walking around.
And we moved the table in order to fit the dog in frame, and it ended up in my lap somehow.
And we still use wide angle.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen this year because I was quite nervous over
Quite
the dog.
nervous
Yeah.
over Utah decided he was going to be a lap dog.
When you have a dog's head that close to your face, it's a huge thing.
Well, especially when his head's bigger than yours.
Yeah, quite.
It is.
So we'll be
So
talking
stay
with
tuned to
Utah.
see Utah.
Yeah. Later on.
But should we tell who else Utah's obviously the star of the show. It doesn't matter that Betsy and Barbara are here too, but we might mention.
We could mention that their handlers are here with them.
Yes,
And
yes,
we're
yes.
going to be talking about a dog show, annual dog show that's coming up. Is it going to be here?
It's in Harrison.
Oh, it's in Harrison.
Yeah, the AKC
Okay.
show.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Betsy Shasheen and Barbara Allen are here with Utah. And Betsy, what's your baby's name again? Spike. Spike was on last year too, wasn't he? We saw Spike last year, so they are repeat offenders.
Okay.
They are previous guests. Will be with us. And who's next, Dana?
Brenda and Tom Putnam. They're from the Mountain Creek Christian Family Retreat and Youth Camp. We'll be talking about that.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes, yes. And
Nice
and
people.
Mr. Putnam asked what we were going to talk about. I told him we couldn't tell. We couldn't tell. He's
No,
nervous, so
it's actually,
just wait till we get to Mr.
we
Putnam.
really haven't opened the envelope on what questions we're going to ask. We've got them hidden away. So
Just like at the Academy Awards.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay, under seal. And then next we have Brother Greg Carter. He's with the First Christian Church of Mountain Home. Spit that out, Sandy. The First Christian Church of Mountain Home. The one over by the Ford place, because we have a Christian Church of Mountain Home, then we have the First Christian Church. So he's the one over by the Ford place, and he's going to talk about youth activities and mention a sunrise service and some Easter programs they're having. Very good.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And then we have Nick Rice and Megan Wilcoxon.
With the sun on the end.
Going to be talking about a laser tag from the sponsored by the FBLA from
At
USC,
ASU.
At ASU.
Yeah. Very good.
And that rounds out our show. And I guess what we need to do is since we're coming up on 10
Take a
minutes,
break.
we'll take a break. That's what we do next. What do we do after that?
We come back and you clap low.
Clap low.
Clap low.
We'll try that.
We'll practice.
Can we practice?
Yeah.
Stick around. We'll be right back.